Hello again, YouTube. My name is Bree, and in today's video that is slightly late, I will be painting this little demon boy in the sketchbook made for me by my friend Spofgh, which this page is in fact blue. It's the Bockingford tinted watercolor paper, and I am using my Gallo watercolor paints since I hadn't used them since I added all of those new colors. I'd gotten a little too into my Roman schmal and abandoned all my other paint sets for a short time, so we're fixing that finally. So yeah, this painting, drawing rather, I started out wanting to continue that trend of painting more kind of illustrations, little scenes, but when I actually sat down, I've been a little burnt out, I guess, and I couldn't come up with anything to draw, so I ultimately ended up falling back on a portrait and realized I hadn't drawn like a demon boy or something in a while, so I don't know, just decided to go for it. I guess people have been talking religion at work, and me being contrarian had to, twist it a little bit. I don't know. I kind of like the whole angels and demons motif, so why not? No real reason, just something different, something I haven't done recently. Playing around, having fun. It's all good. So yeah, the Gallo watercolor paints, it started out as the Signature 2 palette, but as I used it more, and I talked about this before, I was using a lot of paint to mix darker shades. The brown in this one is gorgeous, but it granulates a lot and is very transparent, and I wasn't really enjoying it for some of my mixes, so I wanted to add some kind of darker shades and also more browns to the palette, so I had some more variety because I love working with different shades of brown. So I got the Payne's Gray and the Nocturnal, just to have some fun ones to play with. I also got the Quinacridone Chestnut, which is their PR206. I'm actually very fond of that pigment, and it is going away. So buy it while I can. I need to stop getting into pigments that are not good, whether they be fugitive like my alizarin crimson or being discontinued like PR206 and PO48. I seem to have some rough luck picking favorites. And then I also got a PR10, I forget if it's PR101 or PR102, the Morellone. And I'm going to forget what the other one is. I think it's just a burnt umber cypress. Yeah, that's what it is. Kind of a standard burnt umber, just to balance out the palette a little bit more, to have more variety in my browns. Definitely don't need them, definitely could mix them, but I was using a lot of Yinmin blue. And yeah, that one's an expensive one. So just both making it easier for myself and saving myself the expense of replacing a half pan at some point that's 40 euros, because that is way too expensive for me, but I very much love that blue. So I'll definitely keep using it. Hopefully never run out, just like all my other watercolor paints that seem to last forever. So yeah, rambled on about paints far too long already. I really don't have too much to talk about. Obviously, I never seem to have much to talk about in terms of what I'm painting. This one, when I use this palette, I really love the warmer colors in it. So I tend to paint warmer portraits. It's one of the biggest changes. Normally, I'd say my style of painting doesn't differ much from palette to palette, but I am so in love with the Medici red that came with this. And I think that's PR 168. It's just such a beautiful, warm, transparent red, warmer than I usually have in a palette, and it makes me inspired to paint warmer skin tones. So this actually started out quite orange. The Quinacridone Gold is really pretty too. So between those two, I tend to paint on a little bit on the warmer side, which really popped against the blue paper a little bit more than I'd intended, but that's okay. And I also really enjoyed painting with this larger brush. I got the 2 Tintoretto brushes during my last Jackson's haul, and I hadn't really used this larger one yet. And getting used to it a bit, it's still absolutely incredible to me how that brush can hold such a fine point for some of these little details, but also give you these big, bold washes. I am so in love with this brush, these Tintoretto brushes, so I'm really happy with those recent purchases. Now I just have to behave and, not purchase more things, because I'm always tempted to buy more things I don't need. And since I've been a little spendy lately on the art supplies between the Roman schmal, the Tintoretto brushes, and the Gallo paints, I want to buy more things that I very much don't need. I do want to set up like another travel palette using an art toolkit box, and one of the things I don't have in my collection is a tube of a cool yellow. So when I filled up my last little palette, I used green gold instead of a cool yellow since I didn't have one. And I kind of do want to get just like a standard lemon yellow or something to have in my collection to also be able to put in these little one-off travel palettes. But I'm just concerned that if I go out to buy that one little thing, it'll become a whole purchase of things I don't need. Honestly, I really could use like another brown gouache as well. I have my little art toolkit palette for my gouache, and when I was painting an ATC for a friend, that's an artist trading card. They were like basically baseball card or Pokemon card sized paintings that you exchange with friends. Or random people on the internet. I did a capybara and I was really missing having that brown. So I put my whole bean brown in that palette, and that burnt umber is so crumbly that it's made such a mess because it keeps falling apart. When I open it, it like bounces out and gets everywhere. So I think I have to replace that. I think that's just, I do want to try that blending medium. I know Sarah Burns just did a video going through gouache and she had really good luck with that blending medium, but I'll have to look into that and see if that helps with the whole bean paints, because I do like them. They're just extremely crumbly and not really great for using while traveling. So yeah, I have been doing more gouache lately between that little ATC, and also I did a page in the black pages of the sketchbook, which was just another portrait. And that was in gouache too. I had a lot of fun with that. I have not been using gouache enough. I've basically only been doing gouache when I'm taking a class, and I want to start using it more by choice. So that was an interesting challenge because I logically, I know that gouache isn't super, super opaque, but I'm used to using it on white paper. So when I'm used to building up my layers light to dark with watercolor, it's a lot more obvious when you're putting down thin washes of gouache. Or even like not super thin, but like how many layers it took to build up the paler colors on the black paper. So it was an interesting experience. I definitely want to do another gouache painting on the black pages again soon. I also want to try colored pencils on them. I got a lot of things to experiment with. I need more time. I want to say I'm excited, but I'm also overwhelmed by all the things I have to do. Otherwise, I've been doing a few ATCs. I already mentioned the capybara, which I can say because it's arrived now. But I have 2 more that I need to do, that are upcoming. One I did finish, but I got the order that they are due reversed. So I need to get the other one done. And then I need a break from ATCs before I spend all of my free time doing teeny tiny paintings, and get back to my portraits. If you've been here before or seen my last video, you know that I've been working on doing portraits of non-white people, just to get better at painting people from different locations, from different backgrounds. And yeah, once again, I'm right back to painting white people, but this was a comfort zone sketch, just something to stop stressing about and not have to be reliant on specific references. So plus the blue paper adds a slight bit of extra challenge. I'm being way too defensive about this. But yeah, I will definitely get back to those studies soon. I haven't done any since the last video. I've just been a little too busy. So definitely getting back to that soon. I'm enjoying that. I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed by the idea of doing 50 portraits just because they're taking a lot more time and energy than I expected, but I'm definitely learning and enjoying that. So we'll see. It might just be this thing I do in the background and stop counting at some point, and the 50 portrait idea just becomes a regular study. But I have to get to a certain point where I can, definitely say this is just something I do instead of this is something I have to do, or it'll never get done. We'll see. So yeah, I definitely want to get back to that. I definitely want to do more. I definitely want to do some in gouache. So that was part of painting on black, even though I painted another pale skin, white character. It was just, it's better to try to figure out my current comfort zone before jumping into something more complex, because gouache is still very much a challenge for me. And when I did do gouache for classes, it was always like environments or objects. I didn't paint a lot of people, so I still find gouache really tricky for various reasons, but especially when doing portrait type work. So I have a lot of room to practice and grow. And a lot of that, even if the final piece looks fine, it's the struggle going in to get it to that point that I'd like to get past. Like watercolor, I know I take my time, I build up layers slowly, I do a lot of blending out, but there's something that like I know what I'm doing, and I know I'm working towards where I want to go. Where in gouache, it just feels like flailing for the longest time, and then finally I'm putting in the final details and it's done. So there's a lot more struggle, and I need to get to the point where I'm confident in what I'm doing enough where I'm not just repainting over and over again. So we'll see. As for, what else is there to talk about? I don't know. I don't really have much else going on art-wise. I feel like I haven't been doing that much art recently, and it's just because there's so much else going on and so many little things to distract myself with, whether it be catching up on chores or getting way into webtoons. Been a little problem lately that, like I said in the last video, I'd been watching a bunch of TV to decompress. Since then, it's kind of switched over to webtoons because I was too lazy to even watch TV. And I wouldn't say read a lot of webcomics. I don't know why I never really got into it. I think it's because I didn't want to sign up for an account, and then I would read something like when everyone was talking about Lore Olympus in the beginning. I read it, and then like it got to a certain scene, which if you've read it, you probably know what I'm talking about, and I'm not wanting to read that. So there's some content warnings there in the beginning that I was not aware of. And then I stopped reading, and then eventually I went back to it and I read a bunch, and then I just forgot where I was and kind of forgot its existence for a while, a little out of sight, out of mind, and then went back. So I kind of caught up on that one, and I'm not really that into it anymore. I don't know if that's just me or it could just be me. Otherwise, I started reading, and I don't know how to say it, but Elixir, which I got way too into and caught up on way too quickly, so that did not pace myself at all. Show me a picture of a stupid fat cat, and apparently I will read that webcomic. So I just love all the cat expressions, and it's otherwise a typical, like, I don't know. If it were manga, it'd be shonen. I don't know what the equivalent is for manhwa, but I'm rather enjoying that, and now I'm caught up, so a little bit of a comic hangover there, I guess. And yeah, I should probably get back to reading regular books, but I've been a little busy and I fell asleep a little quicker, so not making great progress on my books. I did get Radium Girls from the library, so I'm looking forward to that, but I'm currently reading I'm not going to remember the series, some urban fantasy. Oh, no, wait, Eric Carter. It's like the first book, so I'm not very far along on that series yet. Yeah, I every once in a while I pick up a new urban fantasy series to fill the hole in my heart that the long gaps between Dresden Files books leaves. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't always stick with them. We'll find out. And audiobook wise, I haven't talked about audiobooks in a while, I don't think. I've been reading the Golgotha series by R.S. Belcher, and that's a weird one, which also should have a lot of content warnings, but it's been working for me recently. It's kind of weird as in like weird fiction, so somewhat Lovecraftian, and it's set in like the Wild West, and it's bizarre. It's definitely darker. It has horror elements, but I got through the third book recently, and that one was more kind of adventure, focused on some of the female characters, and I really liked it. So I think I'm either on the final book or the most current book. I'm not sure which, but I haven't made it that far in that one yet either. So yeah, I'm just reading all sorts of things, mostly fantasy still, but some nonfiction thrown in, and yeah, got to get back to that. I also really want to read some of like Leonardo da Vinci's journals because we're going to Italy later in the year. I'm very excited about that. And yeah, now I just want to read up more on some of like the work by the Renaissance men, the Renaissance artists and scientists and whatnot, because I'm getting a little excitable about that because I get to see their homeland and their works, and I'm just super excited. I definitely want to take a sketchbook and do some plein air, or at least create another journal like I did when I was in Scotland, which a lot of that was sketched there and then painted when I got home because, you know, you get busy, and when you don't travel with artists, no one's going to want to sit with you for hours as you fuss over a painting, and that's perfectly fair. So we'll see. But I do need to practice a little bit more painting outside to get comfortable with that. Even if I just draw, I'll be happy to have some sort of journal to remember that trip. But yeah, gotta finish planning that one. Been spending a bunch of time like looking into different things for that. So that's still a ways off though. I can slack off there for a little bit. Yeah, I think that's like most things. Otherwise, I don't have too much going on right now. Work is starting to chill out a little bit. Maybe we'll see. And yeah, I mean, I'm living exciting life right now. I did taxes, super exciting. I did have family come visit, so that was really exciting. I hadn't seen them in way too long, so got to spend a couple days with my brother-in-law and his wife, who is also an artist. So super excited about that. They just left. That's why this video's late, because I didn't finish the voiceover in advance, and now I'm too tired to be doing it, so I apologize. And yeah, we just kind of took it easy. We went to the wetlands nearby, and it was a gorgeous day out. Walked around, saw so many birds, and obviously I really like birds. Saw a bunch of gators. It was just really pretty there. So I'll have to go back and paint there at some point. Unfortunately, it's going to get really hot soon. So it was really far too windy to paint anyway. Everything was dried out instantaneously. So it's all good. Definitely enjoyed the day. Got a lot of walking in. Saw a lot of birds. Saw a belted kingfisher, which I didn't expect to see. That one made me super excited. And I got to play with my camera and learn to use it a little better, maybe. We'll see. So that was fun. Now I got to remember to put the settings back so I don't mess up my next video. Yeah, otherwise, TV-wise, we've been watching some Dropout TV, which is a different subscription service. You know, the last thing I needed was another subscription service, but we've been watching like the game shows on there. Actually Make Some Noise, Game Changer. I know like they're probably better known for all their Dimension 20 and which is the D&D content, but my husband isn't really into D&D, and I don't know if I have the attention span to watch those, but I'll give them a try at some point. Just not yet. Right now, game shows are like more bite-sized. We started actually watching that after my cat passed away because I hadn't seen any of it, and he had seen some and thought I'd like it, so it was like a good distraction thing. And yeah, that's why we subscribed, and that's why I've been watching it more. All the Actually stuff is on YouTube, so that's just kind of a fun game show for me because basically it's just nerd trivia, but something is wrong and the contestants have to like buzz in and correct whatever was wrong. So I get way too into that one, and my husband just sits there and he's not that into it. Sometimes he knows the answer and he doesn't say anything, and he just waits for me to be like, oh, it's that, and he'll correct me. But yeah, it's fun. It's different. And then some of the other shows are just hilarious. So plenty of content to watch there. I'll eventually get tired of TV again and stop watching for a while. But that's okay too. So yeah, that's pretty much a life update and also a painting. And so lots of rambling for me. I will go pass out now and we'll probably finish up the video first. I see a couple more things I need to edit, but that's okay. Otherwise, I hope you're all doing well, taking care of yourselves. And yeah, if anyone's doing plein air roll, by the way, good luck. I know that starts soon, so let me know if you're doing that. I want to cheer you on. Otherwise, take care, and I will see you in a future video. Bye.